It's an exciting event to be here. What an incredible group this is. As we were preparing to come, I was warned that there would be an turnout like this, and you really have to be here to see it and feel it. And I think that's the powerful point of where we're at today. I want to take just a moment and not recap what you just heard, but to share with you, I concur completely that we are looking at a broader term of opportunity of service than we may have initially come here with.
So thank you for your willingness to make a difference. Do not let this be just a one-time event. It looks like we're going to do this more often, but thank you for your difference in this great community. Just if you don't know, Provo Orem is the #1 community in America for volunteerism. And we're part of that, so thank you very much. What I mean by that is that there's a project that we're serving that everybody wants to do. Let everybody else do that and go find a shorter place that has a greater need. So do not stand in line to wait to get on a waiting list to serve, and you can then serve a year later. Go find a shorter line that has a need today.
Within the borders of Syria still, there are over 4.5 million Syrian refugees outside of the borders of Syria. Approximately 1.5 million of those are located, or have been relocated to different places within the EU, prominently Germany. But that still leaves around 3 million Syrian refugees that do not have a place to live, they do not have a place to call their own. This is where most of them live today. This was in a place called Idomeni, Greece, right on the border of Macedonia. Actually, technically it's Spiral now, former Yugoslavia Republic of Macedonia. Macedonia is much easier to say. And you can see, the reason I showed this other picture on the right, this is the school that is there in the camp. Much different from the flourishing universities that we saw when I was there 5 years ago. So many of you have probably heard some of the hesitations that we have for bringing Syrian refugees here to the United States. And I do want to address that because there are some perhaps mildly valid issues, and maybe some even stronger issues that are valid. First of all, Syrian refugees will allow dangerous elements to enter our borders. Right? You can see the picture. This is a picture from Paris after the attacks that they had there a few months ago. And there are many people that are afraid that if we allow Syrian refugees to come to the United States, that something similar will happen. And there is perhaps some truth to that, but it's very, very unlikely. I'll give you some reasons here in a moment. So we're worried that it may increase the number of terrorist attacks here in the United States. Many argue that we should just maintain the Syrians in their homeland, but as I mentioned, there are over 7 million displaced individuals within Syria, more than 4.5 million outside of Syria. So it's not very realistic to try and just find a safe place within Syria, at least at this point. Okay? And many argue that we cannot accommodate them. There will be a drain on the economy. And I just want to briefly mention here, I didn't put this up on a slide, but that the academic economic literature finds in the broad spectrum, both high-skill and low-skill immigration leads to increased economic growth. In other words, that even low-skilled workers that come in to the United States, they do come here ready to be employed, and they do increase our economy. They actually benefit our economy to the point of billions of dollars. And this is of course not just refugees, these are all immigrants, okay? Immigration benefits America in at least 2 ways. First, increased immigration expands the American workforce and encourages more business startups. Second, immigrants increase economic efficiency by raising the supply of low and high-skilled immigrants. As we mentioned, we have doctors, lawyers, engineers, many people that have been displaced and who are now refugees. In many cases, immigrants' educational backgrounds complement rather than displace the skills of the native-born labor market. The share of immigrants in the U.S. workforce has declined since its 1991 peak. In other words, there are fewer immigrants now. The temporary visas that have been applied for new skilled immigrant workers limited at 85,000 annually. That's the current number that are allowed into the United States each year, 85,000. They do not meet the demand for new jobs, for required jobs, for people that are looking to hire these individuals. This quota represents, by the way, just over 1/20th of 1% of the overall labor force in the U.S. So basically the main point I'm trying to make is that we have the capacity here in the United States. to accept many more immigrants than we are taking right now. And my argument is that because of this crisis that is happening, and it is a crisis, it's the largest immigration crisis, the largest refugee crisis that we have seen since World War II. This is a crisis that we need to address on a much larger scale than we are right now. Currently, the US government has committed to taking 20,000 of these Syrian refugees. 20,000 out of 3 million people that still do not have a place to go. That's less than 1/2 of 1%. So it's a drop in the bucket, literally. All right, so why should we help? I figured since we were meeting in a stake center, I could wax a little bit religious here. Something I don't get the opportunity to do a lot teaching at a state university. So indulge me a little bit. You have heard that it has been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies, bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you, that ye may be the children of your Father which is in heaven, for he maketh his sun to rise on the evil and on the good, and sendeth rain on the just and on the unjust. For if ye love them which love you, what reward have you? Now, of course, Christ is speaking of our enemies. These people are not our enemies. There are some, of course, that are more militant, that are more extreme. That is a very, very small percentage. And the important thing to point out is that through the refugee process, that these people are vetted very intensely. Okay? And even if we went through a more quickened process, which is what some are proposing, which I would also propose, even with that quick process, we still vet them, we still keep track of where they are. So it's actually much safer for us to bring them here as refugees and know what they're doing, and know what they are trying to accomplish, or know what they're engaging in, than if we just kept them shut out of the borders. So, of course, who is our neighbor? And we've often heard this. From Leviticus, he says, the stranger that dwelleth with you shall be unto you as one born among you, and thou shalt love him as thyself. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. What if their story, and this is from the most recent conference talk from Sister Linda Burden. She says, what if their story were my story? May we then seek inspiration. And I think that's what Brother Mason said also. We need to seek inspiration. What can we as individuals do to help these people? Because I am confident that many of you have the capacity, have the skills necessary to invite these people, to welcome these people, and to advocate on their behalf. May we then seek inspiration, act on impressions we receive, and reach out in unity to help those in need as we are able and inspired to do so. I'd like to welcome more refugees. We do not want to shut our borders, like many other states across the country have said. We want to continue to welcome them. Because, as you pointed out, we are a country of refugees. And we here in Utah are a state of refugees. Right? So I think it's important to focus on this thought. When Christ was asked, who is my neighbor? Who should I help? Of course, he wants us to consider that we are all important in his eyes. And we are familiar with this passage, but I want to read it because I think it just reiterates what we are talking about tonight as a whole. For I was an hungered and ye gave me meat. I was thirsty and ye gave me drink. I was a stranger and ye took me in. Naked and ye clothed me. I was sick and ye visited me. I was in prison and ye came unto me. Then shall the righteous answer him, saying, Lord, when saw we thee an hungered and fed thee, or thirsty and gave thee drink? When saw we thee a stranger and took thee in, or naked and clothed thee? Or when saw we thee sick or in prison and came unto thee? And the king shall answer and say unto them, Verily I say unto you, inasmuch as ye have done it unto one of the least of these, my brethren, ye have done it unto me. We must work to help these individuals. So one of the things that I'm working to do, and I have a little table back there behind the curtain. I think they're going to open the curtain after this is over. But behind the curtain, I have a sign-up sheet, some sign-up sheets for people who are willing to advocate with us. I think, and this is a quote that I took from CNN, one of the leaders within the White House, unnamed of course, but that I think the entire program, in other words, the entire program for the refugees coming into the United States, is contingent on the support of the American people. It is contingent, as all programs in the United States government are, on funding from Congress. Congress is the one that needs to have some pressure to let them know that we as a people do consider them, these people, these refugees, as our brothers and sisters, as people who are in need, as people who are struggling, who don't have clothing, who don't have a place to live. We need to be willing to reach out to them and to speak on their behalf. I'm grateful, so grateful and very humbled to have this opportunity. I hope that you will join with me to advocate on behalf of these refugees. I welcome any information. I'm planning to develop several grassroots opportunities, the very least of which is just writing letters to our congressmen, letting them know that we are wanting to advocate on the behalf of these refugees. So please email me. You can sign up also at the back so that you can get your email. And I will be sending out information to people that are wanting to help. Let's keep this momentum going so that it is a sustained effort, a long-term effort, because this problem is not going away anytime soon. We need to be concerned and help those who are in need. Thank you so much.
Nurse practitioners, doctors, account nurses, CNAs, all sorts of medically trained professionals. What does your husband do?
We're not community members, we're experts. We train community members so that parents are getting support from neighbors and friends and other moms. So it's kind of unique and it's very special. I'm going to come back and talk to you after this.
BYU. تعرف إذا سألت ده في BYU العربي أستاذ جيل
Hey, doing good. It's good to see you here, Tyler. So what do you think of this event?
This is unbelievable. Just hundreds of people. Didn't expect this kind of a turnout. It makes me excited. I'm excited to get some information to help the community a little bit more.
Great. Appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
Children living on the street kids, and others, children with disabilities, refugees, and others. And we've been doing projects in Mexico City and in Tijuana for the last 15 years. And we work with organizations that provide rehabilitation for drugs, that provide education. Right now we're working with a man, Professor Reyes, who has a wonderful program of preventive education. He helps create strengthen communities. These are poor communities. These are kids who are living in cardboard boxes, usually with a single mother, a teenage mother raising kids. And these are the kids that would be most likely going to find drugs, prostitution. And his program is kind of bringing together, creating communities where they help one another. They have opportunities for recreation, for entertainment, for education. So it's really uplifting and exciting to see how effective this program is. So that's what we do is we invite people to go with us down to Mexico, down to Tijuana, or to Mexico City as volunteers, spend about 5 days interacting with the kids. These kids need a lot of love. So a little bit of love can really change a child's life. It's really great to see what these kids can achieve when they're given an opportunity. And hopefully what we're doing is preventing people from becoming refugees in the United States. Because if they can learn to live in their communities and be productive citizens, then they don't need to try to come to the United States. So, yeah, so we're working at the source of the problem rather than the symptoms of the problem. So any questions? When we went down down to Tijuana last year. We fixed up the shelters and the orphanages because they don't have much money. And so a lot of the shelters had broken windows, needed painting, needed cleaning. So that's mainly what the volunteers did. But we also went to the soup kitchen, we went to a Catholic soup kitchen where there were 1,800 people that came in, families and so on. It took 3 hours for volunteers to feed 1,800 people. And so the needs are great.